Hello and welcome and Sat Sri Akal. So Boston which ki kariyo? My Punjabi is not very good, but yeah, Sat Sri Akal from Boston, exactly. How's Boston treating you?
You know, the funny thing is, anyone that's been kind of watching the start of my coverage for MMA India over the last 6 weeks, the snow has literally followed me everywhere. We were in Toronto, Detroit, and then Winnipeg, and now here in Boston it's snowing. The only place that didn't snow is Vegas. And but you know what, I have to say, my first time in Boston, it's a very young and beautiful community here. They love their sports. The reception, the people here are amazing. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been really, really fun. Like, I keep hearing like the summertime in Boston is meant to be like amazing, but just trying to give you guys an idea of where I am right now. I'm in the Falls Bar. We're literally 2 minutes walk away from TD Garden, where the fights will be taking place on Saturday night. Which is going to give you a quick little stand.
Oh, nice.
And this place is literally just full of like memorabilia, like hockey jerseys, and NBA, NFL, and it was apparently voted as the #1 sports bar in North America a few years back by Sports Illustrated. So that's pretty cool. And it's funny because I've been here now 3 times already in the last 24 hours.
Wow.
You know, the MMA media, they tend to find one spot which has good Wi-Fi and a good workspace, and we basically all congregate and end up hanging out. So this evening you had the crew from MMA India, myself, of course, MMA Junkie, MMA Fighting, ESPN, Ariel Horwani, and then we even had Sports Illustrated, Post Media, The Sun from Canada, you name it, fan-sided, Arjun Singh Bulla.
So basically the best MMA agencies in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody was here, and we've been here for about 3 or 4 hours. I think we're about 20 minutes away from closing time, so this is a good time to do this conversation right now. But yeah, I can't complain. You know, by the time you get to like Friday night, the bulk of your work, in terms of my work, the bulk of the coverage is done. But by now, if you're a fan or a viewer, whether you're a hardcore or a casual, you have essentially made your mind up. Are you going to tune in tomorrow night or not? And if you are, then stick along to the right, because we're going to have some awesome coverage tomorrow night behind the scenes here at TV Garden, Boston for UFC 220, Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou. Easily the most anticipated heavyweight title fight in a very, very long time, many years.
Yeah, so first of all, I think I forgot to introduce us. This is Praveen Debas, your host, and Chamatkar Sandhu, who has been covering all of UFC 220 for us, and he was at UFC 219 and UFC Winnipeg. So been having a great time covering all of these events. And this week, and you are on the MMA India show, of course, this week has been amazing because there has been so many stories, so many like lines coming out, starting with the open workouts, where you asked the question from Daniel Cormier about John Jones' polygraph test, and he replied with that Ted Bundy answer, and it went viral everywhere.
Yeah, you know, Daniel Cormier, #1, is good value. You know, when you interview Daniel Cormier, you're going to get a good interview. And so, you know, first of all, the open workouts themselves, great location, Reebok headquarters. There was a boxing ring set up for the open workouts, and then there was almost shimmied across over to a scrum area. And you know, you go to the typical questions of fight week and camp and other stories in the cycle. And so I was standing there during the Daniel Cormier scrum, and I could see the PR rep from the UFC was like kind of like wrapping things up, saying, "Hey guys, we're going to wrap it up." And up until that moment, nobody has asked him about John Jones.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, here's my chance. I had the last question, so here we go. And I asked him about the polygraph test that John Jones took earlier in the week to almost provide some evidence as a case to prove his innocence in his upcoming case against USADA. And Daniel Cormier, right off the top of the dome, right off the cuff, compared him to Ted Bundy by saying Ted Bundy also passed a polygraph test. And then Daniel Cormier even went as far as to twist a little bit of the truth, a bit of fake news, by saying that that Ted Bundy actually killed.
I think he was trying to be funny, and I think everybody knew that was funny. But I think he was waiting for someone to ask him that question. I think he knew it wasn't a spur of the moment, according to me, answer.
Yeah.
He knew what he was going to say when somebody asked him that.
Yeah, I had a feeling too. I think he was prepared for something like that. And yeah, thank God that I was able to ask that question, because that was the key social, like you said, the viral video that came out of Wednesday's open workout at the Reebok headquarters. It was all about Daniel Cormier and that Ted Bundy line connected to John Jones.
And thanks to MMAindia.com and Chamatkar Sandhu. So all of you media agencies out there, next time don't forget to give us the credit. But I just want to tell all the fans who are logging in, we can see your questions and we will get to them. All of you guys, thank you so much for logging in. So just hold on a little bit. We're going to chat some more and then we will get to your questions as well. Now, coming to the open workouts. Did you think, now of course a lot of the focus of course has been on Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic. And Stipe, of course, yesterday did give a statement through his Twitter saying, get ready for some fireworks. I've got something special for you. We don't know if that's bravado. I personally have a lot of respect for Stipe. Everybody kind of feels that Francis is going to take this. It's amazing that the champ is being portrayed as an underdog. But, I mean, when you've seen Francis fight and punch, you can't really blame them. My question is, when you are there watching Francis punch, Francis spar, and then Stipe as well, what is your judgment?
Well, first of all, Francis Ngannou is a mountain of a man. Video and images don't do it justice. When you're in his presence, he has just got this figure on him where it's intimidating. It really is. And you guys saw the open workout. You saw what he was doing with his head coach. Like, he knocked off his GoPro from his forehead. He kicked him so hard that his head coach fell to the ground. This is a guy that's got a lot of power, and it's no gimmick. We've seen it. We saw what happened literally a month ago in Detroit with Alistair Overeem, and and it's funny to hear, or it's incredible to hear that the mass audience of ours is kind of really favouring Francis Ngannou, because I have to say, personally, speaking to colleagues in the media and speaking to folks here in Detroit, everyone's 50-50. There's a group and a section of people that seem to really favour Francis, and it's coming down to that knockout power early in the fight. And then you've got the people that really favour Stipe, that say, hey, listen, if this fight goes to the 3rd or 4th round or the 5th round, it's a problem for Francis. And the one thing that I took away from the open workout, again, he was just kind of giving an open workout, but after 10 minutes, his mouth was wide open, he was breathing pretty heavy. He's a big, muscular guy. He weighed in today at 262 pounds.
Yeah.
That's heavy, even for heavyweight standard. So again, in the first round, of course, you want to favour Francis Ngannou, but if this fight gets into the 3rd or 4th or even the 5th round, or even goes to the decision, you have to favour Stipe. And everyone legit is literally calling this down the middle, 50-50. There's no runaway favourite in this fight whatsoever. It's fascinating.
But from your description of Francis sparring, is it fair to say that you have a bit of a man crush on him now?
You know what? I have to say, I'm just... In the sport, there's a few fighters you see once in a while, and there's something about them, whether it's a physical presence, a mental state, emotional state, an attitude. You see them and you say to yourself, that is a future UFC champion. And that's what I felt about Francis Ngannou for quite some time now. The Alistair Overeem knockout was just the exclamation mark on, a meteoric rise over the last few years. And I'm just so fascinated to find out that if he does become a champion, what does a Francis Ngannou heavyweight champion reign look like with the UFC? I think it will be an interesting time to be able to go out there and promote someone like Francis with his background, with his amazing story as the baddest man on the planet. So we'll see. We'll find it and see if we can get the championship belt on Saturday night.
Yeah. Now, coming to the co-main event for a little while. Before we move on to the press conferences and everything, not many people are giving a chance to Volkan Ozdemir. That's also because he doesn't have quite the personality of Daniel Cormier. Cormier can really talk. You know, Volkan has tried to, you know, put stuff on Twitter, say stuff, but he's really been smothered by Daniel, you know, everywhere. You know, Daniel doesn't really let him breathe, you know, on Twitter or anywhere else. He's really smothered him in the press conferences everywhere. Now, do you give Volkan any chance in the fight, considering what he has done, of course, with Jimmy Manuwa and, you know, but Daniel, of course, is champ for a reason. He's seen guys like this before, you know. He's dealt with your Anthony Johnsons, you know, and Alexander Gustafssons. He knows what Volkan brings to the table. What do you think? Do you think Volkan stands any chance? Do you think people are underestimating him?
Listen, at the end of the day, it's MMA, and you know, if anyone's been following this sport for a long time, you've seen the upsets, you've seen unbelievable moments in the sport. On paper, I just can't see anything other than a Daniel Cormier victory. It's not to say that Volkan Ozdemir doesn't have the tools or skill set to get the job done. I just think that DC's veteran experience, his wrestling, his ground game, I definitely foresee on the ground a rear naked choke, maybe in the second round, maybe even in the first round, while Volkan is still fairly dry. I'll give Volkan a small chance, but I'm heavily favouring a Daniel Cormier victory here, and that's probably the lot of the night for me personally.
Now, I would tend to agree. You know, though, like you rightly said, you know, it's MMA. Stranger things have known to have happened. One just wishes that DC isn't overlooking Volkan too much, which he won't. I think DC is too smart to ever underestimate an opponent. Now, coming to the media scrums, you know, the media scrum day, I think, was a little more relaxed, of course, than the open workouts. Because, you know, in the open workouts, you're also, I think, trying to keep your cards close to your chest. But at the same time, you are trying to show, like a Francis would want to show, how hard he hits. Now, the second day, the media scrum day, of course, there was, you know, all the guys were there. And you spoke to them again. Again, how was the mood, you know, in terms of... Francis seems so cool. Now, Stipe, of course, is playing it very cool, calm, collected. He doesn't seem to be worried about everybody giving Francis, you know, the odds. What do you think of Stipe's demeanor? You know, do you think his whole thing is like, listen, let them say whatever they want. I know what I'm going to do when I get into the octagon.
You know what? Stipe is an interesting character because it's hard to read Stipe. You know, he doesn't really give you too much in interviews where you get an inside look at his psyche. He's the same old. By now, we know what you get with Stipe Miocic in terms of interviews and a fight week for a title fight or for a main event slot. He is so hard to read. There's history on the line. If he wins tomorrow, he is the first heavyweight champion in UFC history to have defended his championship belt consecutively for 3 times. And when he's asked about that, it's not really phased him. When he's asked about Francis Ngannou's knockout power, it hasn't really phased him. He is stone cold, ice cold. You know, for a guy that, you know, is a firefighter at his other job, who has to run into buildings that are on fire, there's not many things that would scare him, and he's been in there with some of the best in the world. Yeah. So this is an interesting sort of, like, I suppose, fight, because, again, even though Stipe doesn't really give us much, everybody else everybody else is talking about this as the most anticipated heavyweight title fight in years. So we're almost doing the hard work for him. Whether that's kind of like affecting him mentally, emotionally, who knows? We'll only know like 24 hours from now. So far, I can't really give you much. The same old Stipe. He comes out, gives his interviews, and he says the two words that he always says. And still, we'll find out.
Yeah, and you know, I think, you know, like you rightly said, Stipe is a guy who goes inside buildings and fights fires. You know, you can't get tougher than that. You know, he picks people up. I mean, you know, the guy would be scared of nothing. And if you remember how he knocked out Fabricio Werdum, you know, that didn't seem like the kind of punch that would knock somebody out, because he was off balance, he was going backwards. You know, it was a counter punch, but it did knock Werdum out. So let's not underestimate the kind of power that Stipe has as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing about Stipe Miocic is like he's like an every man's hero. Again, he's a firefighter, working class background, and he also happens to be a UFC heavyweight champion. You know, he and then you have an amazing story with Francis, who 4 years ago didn't even know MMA, emigrated from Cameroon to Paris, France, lived rough on the street, and here we are 4 years later, and he's on the cusp of becoming a genuine blockbuster superstar in the UFC if he wins the heavyweight championship on Saturday night. It's just so fascinating.
Yeah, I think what's...
Honestly, the card is a top-heavy card.
I think what's...
talking about the headline and the co-main event, and there's a big drop-off. No one's really talking about the other parts of the card. And you know what? Sometimes that happens, and for good reason or bad reason, we're talking about a 1-2 combination here. Main event, co-main event, but really, it's the main event. It's a heavyweight title fight. This is the kind of fight everybody gets, you know, interested in and gets emotionally invested in. I'm just like, I'm counting down the hours right now. I cannot wait for this fight.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. You know, this fight has so much character behind it because of who these two guys are. They've both struggled. I mean, they are such men of character. One's a firefighter. The other guy has literally, you know, survived getting into gangs, survived crossing the ocean, survived living off the street, you know, and just been street smart and tough, picked up, you know, sandbags and everything. They're both, you know, you can kind of, if I would say this in Hindi, इन दोनों में से मिट्टी की खुशबू आती है. You know, they're son of the soil. That's what I would call them. You know, they're not. That's why they're not. Their whole demeanor is not brash. You know, they know where they come from. Even though Francis says things, but they're not brash. He says them because he means them, not because he's trying to be, you know, he's trying to intimidate somebody. He actually believes in what he says. So I think that's what's really interesting about this fight is who these two people are. And I think the kind of character they both possess. And that's why I, you know, am going to be glued to that seat as well to watch this fight.
Yeah, the character of these guys is amazing, honestly. And again, you're right. I agree with you wholeheartedly. The storylines coming into this fight are what is really connecting with the fans. Casual fans, hardcore fans. Like, you know, and you know what? The good thing about right now, the talking's all done. The stories have been read. You know, everyone in the media has done the hard work. It's just time to fight.
Yeah.
We're counting down the hours now. We are literally counting down the hours. And even now, there's no guarantee. We don't know what's going to happen. It's a 50-50 fight. It's so fascinating.
Now, coming to the, of course, the weigh-ins, the official weigh-ins, there was a little drama with, I would say, you know, just a little with Daniel coming last minute, you know, and asking for the towel. So there was images of Towelgate happening again, but of course nothing like that happened. He was bang on 205, you know, didn't need to hold on to the towel or anything. So, you know, it was all good and all the fighters made weight. So, you know, that was really great as well. Now, the UFC 222 and 223 press conference. Of course, you got to ask some really interesting questions, you know, and Dana White wondered whether you were the only reporter over there, which was great. And, you know, of course, though he did what a lot of people want to know, is he did play a little. He refused to actually answer the question about whether Conor had been stripped or not. He said basically what they're trying to do, I think, is wait to see what position Conor takes by the time this fight happens, and how fast that fight could be turned around into the winner fights Conor McGregor. That's what how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, so I mean, I think again, speaking to my friends in the media here when we had dinner this evening, I think everyone's really upset and a bit salty and just a bit down about the fact that we couldn't get the definitive answer. That's all anybody wants right now. We just want to know, okay, look, we get it. You're going to do Tony, you're going to do Khabib. Just say it. Say it outright. It's for the undisputed championship. Go out there and say, hey, we've stripped Conor McGregor. But because Dana White has refused to say that, it just has this grey cloud right now over the entire event, over the lightweight championship, and it's very unfortunate. Now, a lot can change between now and, of course, fight night. I think between now and then, they have to strip Conor, because you can't go into this fight and call it an interim championship, a real championship. If you call it a real championship and you're still calling Conor McGregor a champion, it just causes confusion, and it's just bad for the sport, it's bad for the UFC, and like I think everyone's getting really fed up about it now. More so day in, day out. Really, it's getting bad. And that was obviously the main highlight of the press conference. It's just like we did not get a definitive answer, decision, comment on the fact that you've got Tony and Khabib fighting, and right now, as things stand, we haven't been told if it's for the undisputed lightweight championship, and if Conor McGregor has been stripped. We do not know definitively as we are talking right now.
But Dana did say that the winner will be the undisputed champion. Didn't he say something like that?
He did, but you know, like, why not announce it now? What's the difference between now and April? What's the difference? What are you waiting for?
April. That's what he's waiting for. He's waiting for April.
Yeah. And you know what? My theory is what this has done, this has bought the UFC 2 months of negotiation time with Conor. They keep him happy, they keep him the so-called champion, and it buys them 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 weeks of more negotiation to try and get a deal done, to get him to fight in 2018. Maybe the winner of this fight, who knows? Maybe a part of that is him keeping the championship, who knows? But again, if they were going to call the winner of the fight the undisputed champion, why not announce it today at the kickoff press conference? I'm telling you, people are very salty, and the comments I've read online and social media. But as each day goes forward, there's more backlash coming towards Conor McGregor and this lightweight championship situation with the UFC and Direct Tony and Khabib.
Yeah, and Tamanpreet also asked, so there would be 2 lightweight champions. And I think we've kind of answered that, not really though, because everybody is unsure that whether there would be by that time. I think the answer will be much clearer closer to 223. And I think you've really hit the nail on the head when you say that it gives Dana more time to negotiate with Conor. And I think he has played all of his cards right by putting this fight really close, quickly together, so that he will be able to announce an undisputed champion in case things don't work out with Conor, and in case things do, then the winner of this fights Conor soon afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. And again, hopefully, fingers crossed, by the time Tony and Khabib fight, I really do hope it's for the undisputed championship, because honestly, they both deserve it.
Yeah, they do. And I think, but both of them also, according to me, would want to beat Conor and then become champion. You know, since I don't think either of them would want to rest on their, you know, beating either Khabib or Tony. Having said that, they're both world-class champions. I mean, you can't get, you know, this is kind of like the Holy Trinity of the UFC and MMA right now. Tony, Khabib, and Conor. You know, three of the best guys in UFC at the top of their game. You see the way these guys have been destroying their competition. You know, and the best of the best. You see how Khabib took out Edson Barboza. You see how Tony finished Kevin Lee. You see how Conor, of course, finished Eddie Alvarez. You know, and before that, Aldo, of course. You know, these three are really at the top of their game. And what's unfortunate, though, because I'm such a fan of that fight, is the Conor-Nate Diaz fight has kind of gone to the sidelines because of this. You know, so I guess Nate Diaz is not going to get his 20 million that he wants to fight.
Yeah, I mean, you know, ideally you want to see Conor McGregor come back, fight the winner of Tony Khabib, fight the Diaz trilogy, maybe do the GSP fight, who knows? But more importantly, we just want to see Conor McGregor come back to MMA. He's young enough, he's in his prime, he's good enough, we know that. We want to see him fight in the octagon, that's what we want. And hopefully we get to see that more than once in 2018, if at all.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think everybody, including the fighters themselves, want Conor to come back so that they have a chance to beat him and in everybody's eyes be the true champion. Just like Daniel Cormier would want to beat a clean John Jones to really be, you know, the champ, and like he has said so himself. Having said that, now, of course, you know, we're, like you said, you know, everything's kind of done now. Saturday, we just get ready for the fights. Like, again, how everybody has said, you know, even we've been seeing the comments and everything, it's a little unfortunate that there's not enough the public interest in any of the other fights except the top two, you know, Daniel Volkan and Stipe Francis. But that's how things are. You know, it is what it is, like Dana and everybody would say. And that's where the interest is. But those two fights, I think, are enough to sell this card.
Oh, easily, without a doubt. I mean, if you're not interested and excited about seeing the best heavyweight title fight in the last, what, 5-6 years, then this sport isn't for you, honestly. Like, everyone is amped for this fight. For real. Like, it's, you know, it's why we're here. Why are we here right now covering this fight? It's for, of course, the light heavyweight championship, but more importantly, by a lion's share, it's for the heavyweight title fight. I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to chat about, Chamatkar, before we say goodbye and leave you to get back to your beer?
I just want to say before I kind of call it a night here, as the bar closes down behind me. Everyone that's watching, keep continuing to support us. We really appreciate it. Give our content the likes and the comments. Share our content, especially when we go live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And yeah, like, you know, this is an amazing community that we've grown now, the Indian MMA community. We have some awesome content coming tomorrow night, obviously post-fight coverage from UFC 220. And I'm pretty certain that at some point tomorrow we will get an exclusive interview with Arjun Singh Bulla, who is in town. He flew in this morning to speak to and you know, support his teammate Daniel Cormier. So keep it locked here on the MMA India show and MMAindia.com for all of our continued coverage here in Boston, Massachusetts for UFC 220.
Yeah, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank everybody, especially the last 2 days have been sleepless nights for us here at MMAindia.com and the MMA India show. Chamatkar has been working non-stop. I have to thank myself. I've been up, 2 nights now, and I need to go and get some sleep. We've been up all night. You know how it is. The hours in America don't really match up, except for the official weigh-in. Everything else was in the middle of the night, but we were up bringing all the live content to you guys as it was coming out. I have to thank my team who have been here throughout the night. Vishal, Tejas, Abe, who just walked in as well. All of you guys you're doing great work, and thank you for putting your passion out there for the media and MMA, and we will continue to bring you awesome, great coverage. We always aspire to be the best, not only in the country, but stand shoulder to shoulder with media agencies across the world, and I think we're doing that now. Thank you so much, Chamatkar, for joining us today and bringing us all that great content. This is Praveen Dabas, your host, and Chamatkar Sandhu, who is on the ground in Boston covering UFC 220. I am so jealous and envious, but you're also working very hard. You're going to be behind the scenes everywhere. So all the best. We look forward to all those amazing interviews with all four of the top four fighters, and speaking to Arjun as well. That's it from me, Praveen Dabas, MMAindia.com and the MMA India Show, and Chamatkar Sandhu, our man in Boston. Thank you all for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.